Okay. Well, hello again there folks. Mike Trow for the Saline County League of Women Voters. Last month, Don Merriman gave us all the straight poop on voting and everything surrounding that. Remember, and Don would want me to reiterate this, time to register is getting short. So if you haven't registered, get a move on. What's the holdup here? Why haven't you registered already? Well, one reason could be the big lie. Now, what's the big lie, you say? Well, the big lie started with Adolf Hitler. And I'm sure people before Adolf did this kind of thing. But his philosophy always was, don't just tell a lie, but embellish it. Make it bigger. Because the bigger the lie, the greater the possibility that people will actually believe it. If it's a small lie, oh, she actually wears a wig, some people are going to go, that's mildly amusing, but I don't really care. Okay? So don't just say that somebody is a liar. Build it up. Make it to where it is so monstrous. That's what sells it, Hitler would say. If it is huge, people respond, oh, it must be true because nobody would lie about that. Yet when somebody says that your vote doesn't count, that is in effect what they are doing. They're lying to you. Now, in all honesty, folks, it is real easy. Now, one vote doesn't count. Candidate A wins with 85% of the vote. Okay, your one vote mathematically can be shown not to count. And one would not change the vote is what I mean, not count, but it wouldn't change the vote. So they say, well, it doesn't count. However, what you have to understand is that human beings are not a singular group. Human beings do not respond by themselves. You may see one person responding, but there's 1,000 other people standing back here thinking the same thing. So human beings do not act in a singular group. When I was in the restaurant business, my broil cook and I, we'd notice how people ate. And it was going to be this time of the year. And people are coming in at 12 o'clock, noon, and ordering steaks and baked potatoes and, the heavy foods, the very heavy foods. We look at each other and said, we're going to have a harsh winter. Worked every time. At the same time, when they would come in during lunch hour, supper hour, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and they were buying salads, we knew it was going to be a light winter. Okay? Not voting is a sign of where that individual is at that time in their life. Okay? It's where they are personally. They are pleased with where they are. Things are going as they want it to go. And this is not a socioeconomic thing. People on the lower end of the scale can think that things are going great and vote or not vote accordingly. one kind of silly thing that I ran across was wearing an I voted sticker tells people either you trudged out to vote or you found a roll of stickers somewhere. Okay? Now, in Australia, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, you get fined if you don't vote. Australians are very happy with this. Many here in America agree. Many believe that we should make it a law that people have to vote. But my question is, how do you know that people are actually voting and not just standing there staring at the screen? Or how do you know that they actually care? All you can make them do is hit submit. You can't make them care about what they are doing. So I personally, I would question the quality of the voting in Australia. Even if the point is to get people to take part in it. You can't make people care. What's that old saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Sometimes they would rather have wine instead of water. Okay? You just have to go with it. Remember, we're all about empowering and encouraging here. And to that end, I have 7 reasons here not to vote. And I have 7 reasons to vote. Okay, the not to vote column. Vote doesn't count. Folks, this is an excuse. You know, it's based on the Electoral College choosing the president. You say, oh, well, it doesn't matter what I do. Somebody else is going to do what they want. But the whole system is set up to represent you. You choose somebody you know who then goes and finds out and makes an intelligent decision. Okay? Few elections are like the Hardy Hay City Commission one here locally. That was eventually decided by a coin flip, recounts, and all that. There was about a 20% turnout in that race. What if it would have been a 25%? Who knows? Joe Hay may have won. Randall Hardy may have won. May wind up being the same thing. We don't know. Okay? The popular vote does decide who the electors are, and the electors then go and choose the president. Now, each state decides where the electors meet and the general election rules. So you see, again, you vote for a senator who then goes and makes a decision on the rules. So again, it's just an excuse if you say your vote doesn't count. 2, too busy. Life creeps up on us. I know. Believe me, I know, folks. Like Bob Seger sings, what to leave in and what to leave out. But let's be realistic here. As Don told us last month, there are a number of ways to vote, folks. A number of ways. You can vote early. You can vote by mail. Don showed you the form that you can fill out. You never have to go do it again. They'll mail you your ballots. You can vote absentee. These are all good, solid, acceptable ways to vote. Some more are coming down the pike in the future. Okay? In many places, weekend voting is available. In other places, you can vote out of district. Okay? This is another excuse. Another excuse. Okay? I've always found in my life that when it's something I really want to do, I'll make time for it. I really want to spend time with my grandchildren. Somehow in my busy schedule, I can find time. This afternoon, I got to spend an hour with 3 of my grandchildren. You know, if you want to do it, you're going to do it. 3, registration requirements. There are certain regulations that are necessary, folks. Anybody who knows me knows I'm about as small government as they come. I want as few rules and regulations as possibly necessary. But there are some regulations that are necessary when it comes to voting. We have to make sure that you are, first of all, a citizen of the area in which you're going to vote. Okay? That has to be. Okay? The regulations may appear to be onerous, but if you keep track of your registration, and especially with these new laws, I've heard a lot of people complain about them, but hey folks, it's the law, okay? If you want to change the law, then vote out the people that are in there making the rules right now. Vote in other people. Oh, but then you have to register to do that, don't you? Okay? But keep track of your registration. Don goes out of his way to make sure that those listings are up to date. Okay? If you don't see your name after a few days, call him. What's going on? I bet it's probably you didn't supply a birth certificate, or you didn't sign on this line, or it's something simple like that you can go take care of. But you have to check, okay? Most often people, like I said, have forgotten to bring in something. So just call and find out, okay? Registering to vote is not something that takes you 30 seconds and then you forget about it, okay? Hey, things happen. 4, apathy. Both major candidates are bums. No comment, okay? Well, look for another candidate. Or maybe you should run. When I ran for the State House, I heard from several people how they didn't know I was running. But if you aren't in the system, then you can't really complain about it, can you? Okay? If you don't get what you wanted, that's too bad. 5, lines are too long. Oh boy. If you only knew what a big excuse that this really is. What you're really saying is that you didn't want to vote anyway. Okay, I'm looking for an excuse not to vote. You know, my students, 20 minutes left of class. Oh, I don't have time to take this quiz. Quiz will take you 5 minutes, okay? You got the time. In 2008, I stood over in Hageman, and I watched the director of the Saline County Obama for President group make sure that everybody was inside of that polling place before they locked the doors. I saw people running down the sidewalk to get inside, and he's standing outside motioning them, come on, hurry up, hurry up. Time is getting short. But they were motivated. They wanted to vote. Okay? And again, we come down to absentee voting, weekends, There are a lot of other ways of voting. Okay? Don't like a candidate. Well, we talked a little bit about the campaign diary before. Make yourself out a campaign diary. Maybe it's just you don't have enough information. Perhaps you think that there's only 2 choices when really there are 3 or 4 or 5. You need to find out, folks. You know, you need to be connoisseurs of the news, not just sit there and take whatever's shoveled at you. Okay? You need to go find out. YouTube is great. YouTube, just about every candidate will keep their YouTube sites up and going. He'll play the entire speech. You can hear the whole thing, not just the homogenized, condensed version. Okay? Research a candidate like you do a car, or a pair of shoes, or a shirt, or pants, okay? Or a house. Research them and find out what they are about, and then vote for the one that is closest to what you want. 7, can't get to the polls. Hello, mail-in ballot, absentee ballot, early voting. But you know, there are also many organizations that provide rides to the polling booth. So again, that's just an excuse, folks. Okay? Now, on the positive side, reasons to vote. There are many other offices other than president that is on the ballot. And in reality, these others affect you a whole lot more than the president does. County clerk, state senator, state representative. There's 4 county commission races. That's not going to happen again, folks. 4 county commission races. My district's the only one that's not electing this time. So there's a lot of other offices that are on the ballot, and you need to make yourself known. Okay? 2, higher the turnout, the better represented we are. It's simple mathematics. If you're running a poll, and you go out and you do a poll of 500 people, and you're running your poll right. I'm assuming you're running your poll right. You do it to 500 people, you can have a fairly accurate poll, plus or minus 4%. Okay, that's acceptable. But if you poll 50,000 people, then your plus or minus might be 1.5. Better poll, better gauge of what's going on. And really that's what an election is. It's a poll. And so if we could have 65, 70, 80% of the people going out, then parties will pretty much know what we think and what we believe. Third one, and this is a simple fact of life, folks. To the voters belong the spoils. Politicians and political organizations know who votes and who doesn't. If you don't vote, they don't care. Okay? I was setting in on this whole street project last spring, and when they was getting all of that revved up. And they had lists of people who had voted, the list of likely voters. This one is voted in every election going back 30 years. Well, we want to make sure that we talk to them. This one has voted in everyone up to the last 2. Well, we might call them. See, they know who has voted and who hasn't voted. And they want to spend their time discussing things with likely voters. So if you're somebody who doesn't vote, your opinion is not getting represented. And what you have to do is get out and vote. And then they'll start being concerned. 4, margin of victory is important. If a candidate gets into office with 50.1% of the vote and the other candidate has 49.9% of the vote, chances are it's not going to be a total victory for the candidate that's in office. They're going to have to do a lot of what the other side did because people are split. Now, if it's 70-30, okay, you'll see a more going along with a winner's philosophy. Okay, 30% victory means they will tend to overlook the losers. There's good and there's bad to that. Okay, and I'm not going to make a comment there. Number 5, third parties do have an impact. Generally, third parties bring up things the two major parties overlook or don't care about. A strong third party showing will cause the major parties to listen. It'll cause them to stop. You don't like candidate A, you don't like candidate B, then vote for candidate C. Okay, you're telling the major parties, you better shape up, folks, because we don't like what you're doing. And that could very well be the case this year in a whole lot of races, where the Republicans and the Democrats are not taking care of the people. Okay? But if you do that, they will listen. Like I said before, they know who votes. They know who don't vote. Okay? 6, voting is a right. Many people have struggled and died for your ability to go vote. Now, I know a lot of people, it's not great to say this a whole lot now, but we have to have a sense of from where we came. Okay? People so believed in our ability to make decisions for ourselves that they, at 14 years of age, would pick up a musket and go and shoot at the greatest army in the world. Or once that had been achieved, no, things aren't right here in America. We need to expand the vote out. The people who spent time in jail or were ran out of towns, sacrifices that they made, all so you would have the right to vote. Think of this very organization, the League of Women Voters. How many struggled? Jail, loss of social status, were harassed, or even died for your right to vote. How do you honor those who cared for you without knowing you, other than continuing their work? 7, voting is your choice. It shows your uniqueness. There are over 7 billion human beings on this planet, my friends, and no two of us are exactly alike. Okay? Voting shows your uniqueness. It shows who you are as a person. And I know, again, it's not fancy to say this, but there's a lot of people who would love to have the ability to vote for their leaders. How about those people over in ISIS-held territories? They don't get much of a chance to say who leads them, or what their laws are, or even to show their opinion. Well, friends, 7 yes, 7 no. Where are you? I have an article about foreign nations hacking into our voting sites, and how the federal government is looking on placing voting under the control of Homeland Security. The government doesn't really do a whole lot right. So we need to keep an eye on this, folks, and we need to understand what is at stake. What is at stake is our rights. And how do you show what your rights are? Well, you go out and you vote. And you vote en masse. Remember, human beings are not solitary creatures. We act together in groups. Some people, like me, we tend to go our own way inside of a group, but we tend to be in groups. Think about this, folks. If you have not registered yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. A lot on the line this year. Get down, register. Study the candidates and make a decision that's good for you. Because at the end of the day, that is the important thing. Okay? See you again next month. This is Mike Troe for the Saline County League of Women Voters. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it one of these times anyway. See you later. Goodbye.